Welcome, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's practice is going to be so nourishing and so wonderful for your soul and for your mind, and of course for your body. All of our practice today is going to be down on the earth. We're going to be restoring and again nourishing ourselves. So for today's practice, we don't need a whole lot. I have a rolled up blanket. This could be a beach towel if that's what you have handy. Of course, I have the journal ready for at the end of this practice today. And if you'd like, maybe put some socks on, maybe put a sweatshirt on, something that's going to keep you warm and comfortable throughout our hold. And if you'd like, dim the lights, maybe light in some incense or a diffuser, something that's going to really help you relax even more. Let's go ahead and get comfy and get started. All right, as I said, I have a blanket ready here rolled up. You don't want to have it too super bulky and high, and you'll notice when you start to get into this what feels proper for you. If it feels like too much, like you're just getting too much into it, then just take a roll out of that blanket and make it a little bit more accessible. So we're going to make our way down onto our backside, and I'm going to use this rolled up blanket. I want to put it kind of like along the bra line area, so it's right below the shoulder head. And then just come on down, take a couple moments to kind of shift and adjust to come into this. And to begin, let's start with the soles of the feet onto the earth. So feet are down here for just a moment with the knees bent. And this is the time that we're going to take to find what is feeling comfortable for us. Again, if that roll or if you feel like too much of an arch of the back here, take one of those rolls out. And then after you find the space that feels okay for you, test out what feels good for the hands. The hands can just rest on the body. They can rest next to the body. Or maybe you just want to try it out and see what it feels like to have the hands lifted up above like in a cactus shape here. And then just give yourself a couple moments to find that space. And now for the legs, if you want to just keep them on the earth, maybe keeping the knees in towards each other so we have that opening through the low back. Or you can take the legs out long towards the base of the mat. And again, that might feel like too much of an arch of the back, and you just need to have the feet on the earth. And just take that time to kind of work in, maybe those shoulders opening is not appropriate, or maybe you just want to try it over time, just doing one shoulder at a time. And then once you find this space where you can relax and come into this with the eyes closed down, the tongue away from the roof of the mouth, softening the jaw and the throat. And just feel the connection of your body against that prop and against the earth. And settling into your breath. I'm going to ask you here to not beat yourself up if it's hard to come into these restorative postures. Sometimes the non-doing is harder than the doing. It's hard to shut off the mind. A lot of times I feel like we're not doing this right because our mind is still rushing and telling us, oh no, you didn't get the chicken out to defrost, or giving you all these things that you needed to be doing instead of yoga. And that's okay. Our mind is supposed to work. Our mind is supposed to be working and telling us all the things that it needs to get done. And we're just going to work instead to try to retrain it. and just guide it back to this present moment. So when the mind starts to wander, see if you can bring it back in and just focus on the sensations that you're feeling in the body. Sometimes it helps to count the breath, counting the inhale as 1, and the exhale as 2. Giving that mind something to do, counting that inhale as 1, and the exhale as 2. Do a little scan of your body and check in and notice if there's spaces that you can soften, that you're holding tension. Maybe it's unlikely places like the hands or the feet or the face. Just 3 more breaths here. If you have the legs long, just go ahead and bend them and place the soles of the feet back down on the earth. If you have the arms above the head, very slowly bring them back down. And then with caution, we're just going to roll over to one side. And what I mean by caution is just be cautious and aware of where that prop is. And then take your time to very slowly, slow, press yourself out to seated. So we're going to come around actually to our belly now, and we're going to utilize this blanket, this rolled up blanket once again. This is going to come along our navel. So we want this right above the belly button area. And then it takes a few moments to kind of get down. Shift here, kind of roll here. So it's below the rib cage and along that navel area. We don't want any pressure on the ribs themselves. And if it feels like that's too much right away, like you feel like, oh, it's bringing you some nausea, you can always take that rolled up blanket just a little below the belly button if that feels better. And if it feels like too much, again, with that blanket being rolled up too high, just take one of the rolls out of the blanket, make it a little bit smaller. And then once you can find the space where you're comfortable here, you can create a little pillow for the forehead, crossing the hands and resting the forehead down. Take these moments to get those wiggles out, find that space where you can feel supported. And then I like to turn my toes in and the heels out so that it releases that low back. And it reminds me to release any tension from the glutes. Widen the shoulders, the elbows out. And then just breathe deep. Feel the breath against that rolled up blanket. This one can be very interesting because we don't do a lot to release the muscles in the belly. We talk a lot about tightening them and working them and making those six packs happen. But instead, think about softening through that area. Those muscles need release just like every other muscle in our body. If it feels claustrophobic to have the forehead down, you can always turn to one cheek. Just imagine as if you were massaging those internal organs with each breath. Asking yourself once again, what can you soften? What can you let go of? Taking 2 more breaths. And we're going to take our time to lift up. It's important that we move slowly after we hold these postures. And we're just lifting up slightly. We're just going to bring that blanket a little further down. So now we're taking that rolled up blanket right along the hips, the front of the hip flexors. So now it's definitely below the navel. It's right below the pointy part of our hips and kind of like along the pubic bone, slightly higher than that. And then I like to, again, kind of move around here so that I can feel that I'm going to be supported. And then once I find that support, come on back down into your crocodile-like pose, creating a little pillow for the forehead. And take your elbows out nice and wide so you can feel the shoulders open, the chest rest down. Release any tension in that low back and the glutes and the legs. And feel the rise and the fall of the belly against the earth. Appreciate the opening of the back body. Now I focus on the front body. Nothing you soften. What can you let go of? And 3 more long, deep breaths. Taking your time, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. Very slowly lift yourself up. We're going to take that rolled up blanket. We're going to bring it between or behind, little wind out, behind the knees. So it's going to rest along the calf area. Then we're going to send the bottom back. This is really nice to kind of get those calf muscles too. All those calf smashing if you kind of seesaw back and forth a few times. And then we're going to come into a supported child's pose with this blanket underneath the bottom or underneath the backs of the legs. And then just take the hands back and behind towards the heels. Rest the forehead down onto the earth. So we're in a feed-like posture here. Still working in to that digestive system by having the belly against the tops of the thighs. Opening up the back door of the heart. And long, deep inhales and exhales. Two more breaths. Take the hands from behind. Press them into the earth. Unwind out of that child's pose. Just taking that blanket off to the side. Go ahead and come on to your bottom. And then just take a moment with the eyes shut down. Feeling the effects of your practice washing through the body. And gentle the eyes open. We'll take up our journal. And today we're going to write about ways that you take care of yourself. This can be in a list format. This can be in a journaling exercise. It can be however you would like. And I'm going to ask you to not pass judgments if you haven't taken care of yourself in a while and think of all the ways that you need to do more. Just like all the other things in our life, we don't need to stack this onto ourselves. We can just make a list of how can we take care of ourselves and make that another gentle goal in our life. So how do you take care of yourself? I hope that you are feeling restored and feeling good in your practice from today. And I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know if there are more ways that I can serve you so that you can take care of yourself. Have a fantastic rest of your day or evening. And